warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah ta'ala nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina wa man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu rasuluh. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil in our soul and from our sinful deeds. Those who are guided by Allah, no one can misguide them. Those who are not guided by Allah, there is no guide for them. I bear witness that there is no deity, there is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. O you who believe, revere Allah as He should be revered, and die not except as Muslims. Amma ba'd. I'd like to proceed, is what that means. I'd like to welcome you to the Islamic Society League of American Muslims, otherwise known as ascertain Inc., an organization that was established to conduct dawah, which is to invite people to learn about the true and peaceful message of Islam, and then to nurture, empower, and educate those people that come this way. No matter where you are in your faith journey, whether you were born into a Muslim family, where you reverted to Islam, inverted to Islam, converted to Islam, found it along the way, however it happened, we're here to accept you wherever you are in your faith journey with no castigation, no criticism, and no indictment. If anybody does that to you in our class, let me know, and I'll beat them up in the parking lot. And Mom will help me with her cane. So, yes, I'm obviously a nonviolent man, but that's a joke, but it is given said to make a point. We want a safe place for you to come and to reattach yourself if you're detached or you're trying to find your way to Islam. I'll start with the announcements. December the 26th will be a potluck. We're still collecting non-perishable items, unbroken cell phones and empty ink and toner cartridges. If you want to be on our group to know what's going on with ISLAM, please contact me soon and she'll make sure you're on there. It's been a really busy week. Last night I did a wedding. Yesterday I was invited to Orange City, Florida. As far as I know, the first time a Muslim couple has actually received a Habitat for Humanity home. Now, we have volunteered numerous times with Habitat for Humanity for 2 houses that were built in the Ocoee area. But it was such an honor as an imam to be invited to be part of that groundbreaking. I actually sort of led the groundbreaking. I met the Methodist minister there, I met the mayor of the town, and I'm pretty sure everybody wants me to come back and teach them about Islam. So it was a great dawah opportunity. Sister Naran was doing a speech on domestic violence yesterday morning. So we've had an extremely busy weekend. I wanted to share with you, if I could, some thank you notes from people that we have, places we've spoken recently, and this is one from Dr. Dennis Tishkin. I lecture in about 10 of his classes annually, right? Well, so 10 each semester, sorry, so that's about 20 times I'll actually lecture in his classes. Dear Abdul Rahman and Naran, I want to personally thank you both for coming to speak to my world religion classes. Your presentations help the students to better understand Islam in a general level. A practical, personal level, sorry. As a small token of my appreciation, I've included a gift card from Barnes & Noble. Imam Sykes, it was good to see and hear you today. You had a very good message. It always amazes me how alike all our faiths are and yet different. It is too bad that more people don't realize it. I have thought about you, your family, and mosque, and praying that you would be safe. Many people are praying for peace and understanding. You impressed me when you spoke at my church, New Covenant United Methodist Church, several times. We always had a good turnout, approximately 300 people, and could have had another 50 if we had had the room. To me, it showed people were interested in learning and understanding different faiths. The present leader of our singles group will not allow us to do it anymore, which to me seems a step in the wrong direction. Perhaps the time is right to try again. I would like to find some younger singles who have the drive to push forward. At 84 years of age, the spirit is willing, but lacking in stamina, but I certainly could help. I pray that God will keep walking with you to show people the truth. Please take care and stay safe. Blessings, Bev DS. And then one more. She's 84 years old, yes.
His name is 84 years old.
No, she is in a church that I spoke in, and she's 84, and she's heard me several times.
Oh my.
Last Sunday, 14 of us, and mashallah, I was so touched. 14 members of our family drove all the way out to the villages, and it was Love Sunday. It's the lighting of the third candle of the Advent wreath in the Christian faith. And there was a rabbi who spoke about love in the Judaic paradigm. I spoke on love in the Islamic paradigm. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Is anybody here that attended that would just like to speak to the class a minute about what you thought about it? Because it's much more meaningful for you than it is for somebody else. Go ahead, I'm going to start over here. Abila, and then Bassam, and then over here.
I just want to say it was beautiful.
Can you stand up, brother?
It was a beautiful service, and I wasn't really sure what to expect when I went, but I thought what the rabbi said was awesome. It was such a good, you felt very welcome from everybody that was there. It was really nice.
Thank you. Abila.
Alhamdulillah, again, with Brother Malcolm, I didn't know really what to expect, but we were moved to tears. I've had moments of service. It was a very touching service, and it was just, I don't know, it was at a whole different level of an experience. But there was a lot of tears, not enough Kleenex.
Yes. Thank you, Abila. Tina,
I really appreciated being invited up there, and even afterwards, the way the people that, I mean, I guess they were most of the people that attend that service regularly, so they were just so overwhelmed with appreciation for us coming, I was surprised, because I thought they were there to learn about it, yes, but they were so appreciative that we came all that way to spend the service with them, that we were open enough to go. But yeah, I was crying the entire service pretty much.
It was a very beautiful service, and we actually, I felt like as Muslims we had a lot to learn, because they were so open and welcoming, and I don't know that most of us would be as open as they were. But Elijah and Camila went, of course, having a baby there, they were just beside themselves that a little baby was making little noises like that. But the message was amazing. They heard Imam Sykes call the Adhan, the entire Adhan. It wasn't even a short version of it. And everybody, you could tell, you could just hear a pin drop in that room. And it was packed. I was surprised. When we first got there were hardly anyone there, and everybody started to trickle in. And I believe there wasn't hardly any spaces open for seating. But it was definitely a message. You felt the love. It was a message of love. But that, I don't know if he was a rabbi.
He's actually not a rabbi, but he is the leader of that synagogue.
But his message
Was incredible.
was amazing, because he talked about a personal situation where he went to visit a lady in a hospital, and how she, what she was saying on her deathbed. And he talked about the past and how we really needed to lead with love in the world, with all the messages and the media. It was very, very inspirational service. I'm sorry for the people that missed it.
He also talked about how in 1939, 10,000 Jewish children were on their way to this country, and they were turned away. And he talked about how sad he was that the Muslims, that the United States of America, the people here were talking about not bringing refugees to this country. After he spoke, and this is the fourth time I've been in the pulpit with this Jewish man and this Christian. I've spoken at that church about 10 times. I actually had, you can't imagine this, I know, but I had to gain my composure because I was so touched by what my Jewish brother had said that really it was so hard. I had really to just steel myself and be in the moment. so that I could do my speech about love in Islam. So I wanted to read to you a letter from the minister of that church. And I just got this yesterday. Dear Imam Said Abdul, in handwriting. Thank you for your presentation in the Advent Love Sunday service here at the United Church of Christ. It is apparent that we share a commitment to represent our respective faiths as complementary and not mutually exclusive. That makes me feel proud, glad, and hopeful for our world. Faith Club certainly lends itself to being our next interfaith event. There has been some talk about Temple Shalom facilitating a Seder meal at UCC at the Villages on Thursday, March 24, 2016. Perhaps we can explore how our faiths intersect once again. No matter what, count on the third Sunday of Advent, the second or third Sunday in December, for another Love Sunday. Shalom, shalom, salam alaikum, peace, the Reverend Drew M. Willard. So, I just want you to know that although we are a very small organization, I believe that by the grace of God, we're doing great work. Work that is very meaningful. Work that is so needed right now in this country. I want to say to you that now is not the time to be afraid. If the whole world comes to get you and it's not Allah's will, they can't get you. If the whole world comes to save you and it's not Allah's will, they can't save you. I beg you, I implore you, I beseech you, do not be afraid of what's out there. The only fear that you need to have is the fear of Allah. This is the time that we must speak up. We cannot be quiet now. This is the time that our behavior has to be impeccable. Yesterday when I did the groundbreaking in Crescent City, the young minister that I met there that says he wants to invite me to his church, we were talking about the current state of affairs. And he said, what is it like? And I said, well, you have to be on your P's and Q's all the time. You can't be human. You can't get mad and blow your horn at someone. You can't blow your horn at the stoplight when it goes green because you want the person to move if your wife's in the car with you with a jab. Us men can hide. We really don't understand. But I know that my sisters are getting looks. People are saying things to many of my sisters. And I encourage you to remain patient. We have to be patient. We have to have the adabs, the manners, the etiquettes of true Muslims. We have to be patient with the faith that Allah brings us. We have to be patient to practice what Allah has commanded and to avoid what Allah has prohibited. That's patience in Islam. So I want to encourage you, I want to give you hope. These are not the hardest times. And with things that are being said, I'm just preparing you. Things are going to get harder. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that every single day until the day of judgment will be more difficult than the day before. So I'm preparing you. God has already told you through His Prophet to the final messenger. The true will keep their word and the false will fail. So I encourage you. I just wanted you to look at people that are encouraging what we're doing. People that are acknowledging what we're doing. I wanted you to hear these letters. I get letters and I just don't bring them, but since I got 3 in 1 week, I thought I would share them with you. Alhamdulillah.
Nowadays they are having dialogues on TV also,
Yes.
frequently.
I did, mashallah, Sarah and Fahad just came in. Would you like to share anything about your experience last week at the United Church of Christ at the Village?
Yeah, it was a really good experience. Assalamu alaikum everybody.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, it was a good experience. I had a chance to speak with the Christian and the Jewish representative, pastor, and they were quite happy to see us over there because they were not expecting many of us there, and especially the Jewish one, because I believe there were only 2 or 3 people there from that religion.
Well, the minister told me that actually no one came from the synagogue, which is unusual. Usually they do. But I actually asked him that. What was interesting is that we had 14, and the rabbi, well, who I'm calling the rabbi, the leader of the synagogue there, his brother-in-law is Muslim, and his sister became Muslim. And they were in the congregation from New York. And it was just amazing.
They sat right behind us, yeah.
Yeah, and they sat behind us. So there were 16 Muslims in that church. And I cannot thank you enough. I know that it was a sacrifice. But I asked for everybody in our family that could possibly make it to come. And I'm going to tell you that 16 people made an impact. Somebody raised their hand. Forgive me. Yes. Oh, would you finish, brother? Forgive me. No, please finish, brother. I didn't realize.
No, it's okay, it's okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh.
That they were quite surprised to see all of us there because they were not expecting many of us there. So that's all I basically experienced. I mean, I had been in church like that before, and the way to sing and everything, I think it's I would say really cool the way to worship, because we can sing songs by ourselves in the house or in the cars, but they sing in the church by praising the God, and the way they do it, I think it's a good thing, and it was a pleasure to be there.
Thank you.
Did you say the couple that was the rabbi's sister?
That was his sister.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, that was his sister, his blood sister. So mashallah, I just want those of you, this is the smallest number we've had in years. I was just saying to someone earlier this morning, 62 is our standard number. 62 is what we used to have. The smallest we've had, I believe, in 7 years is 49. And maybe people will trickle in, I don't know. I know a lot of kids are out of school, but this is the smallest number we've had. But it doesn't matter how many we have, it's the quality of what comes out of this. That's what concerns me, the quality of what comes out of this. So we have been, as you know, covering tafsir of Holy Quran. We are now at verse 158 of Surah Al-Baqarah. And so you can see it on the board up there. Verily as-safa, and that's the sawd for those new students who are learning. It's the heavy S sound in Arabic. Oh, thank you very much. Forgive me again. I know I'm getting slow start today, but a lot of new stuff. That's great. We have a lot of new people, and every Sunday I recognize new people, and I just slipped up today. So let's start on this side, and we have another Sierra today, mashallah, a new Sierra. So Sierra, would you just stand up and tell us where you're from and how you heard about it?
I'm Sierra. I'm from here, Orlando, Winter Garden area, and I found out about this service online.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm from Macaulay, and I found out about this from Sierra.
Anybody else here for the first time?
I am. I'm here for the first time.
Oh yes, please, would you stand up and introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Tina. I actually found out about this a while back from you guys, actually. You guys did a school visitation. I think it was a Calypso College or something,
Yes.
UCF, something like that. And then I've been meaning to come, but you know, things were happening. But I'm here, my friend Lauren was like, Tina, come. So I'm like, yeah. So,
Welcome. Welcome. And anybody over here for the first time? Would you please introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum everybody.
Wa alaikum
I
assalam.
am Dada from Pakistan.
Well,
She is my wife.
welcome.
My son Fahad. My daughter Tara.
MashaAllah.
Nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. And we love your son and daughter. Yes, we do. Welcome. To all of you who are here for the first time, I can't expect it from you since you live in Pakistan, but for the rest of you, we want you to be with us every Sunday.
I'm staying here.
Oh, you're staying here? Now? MashaAllah, so we expect you every Sunday. Then you can't get off the hook now. Once you come, it's like you can't not come back. I'm sorry, my wife is really keeping me on point. Welcome. Would you tell us how you learned about us?
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm from London, England, originally of Pakistani origin,
Yes.
British born Pakistani, and this is my friend Natalia. Welcome to visit them. They are very good friends, and these are my sons. This is Yusuf, and this is Ed.
MashaAllah. So we hope that you will become a part of our family. Yes.
Inshallah.
If you aren't living
We're just
here,
visiting.
then you can do Islam Inc. 411, and you can come to our class every Sunday by watching on the computer.
Okay.
So, alhamdulillah. Okay, so now we'll try to get. Oh, I missed somebody else.
One more.
MashaAllah, one more. Yes, alhamdulillah. Hi.
My name is Sabrina. I came from South Carolina.
Sabrina from South Carolina. Okay, let's give it up for South Carolina. Welcome, Sabrina. Welcome. You can't tell it, but I'm actually from North Carolina. I know you can't tell it. So we will try to begin again with the verse that we are starting on today. This is the verse 158 from Surah Al-Baqarah. Verily, Al-Safa and Al-Marwa are of the symbols of Allah. So it is not a sin on him who performs Hajj or Umrah, pilgrimage, of the house to perform tawaf between them. And whoever does good voluntarily, then verily Allah is all-recognizer, all-knower. Now, it's sort of interesting that right in the middle of how this surah works, up comes this verse about Safa and Marwa. But it'll ring a bell a little later on when we get to the next verses that follow up. Something else will be added to that. But basically, why do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here was giving directions about Hajj and Umrah? Anybody? Yes?
Is it because previously they went around Kaaba, but they were non-Muslim, they were non-Muslim?
That's exactly right. Very good. Very good. There's more to it, but you're on the right track. That's good insight. You're on a good enough track. Stay there. Very good. Anybody else have a comment about that? Yes, brother.
Well, your slide says it's because the Qibla had been changed.
Well, you're so smart, brother. That too is true, and thank you very much. We'll go and we'll talk about it a little more. So, what you have to remember, and by the way, for my new students, this is the Kaaba. This is what we circumambulate 7 times when we go to Hajj. If there's a word that I say and you don't know what it means, please raise your hand so that I can tell you what I'm talking about. I would hate for you to sit there and not know what I'm saying. So please ask me. Now, part of the meaning behind Surah Al-Baqarah in verse 158 is that when Ibrahim alayhi salam was called to Mecca, after some disagreement with Sarah, as you know, he had an older wife who was barren. And so she went out and she chose a second wife for him, Hagar. And then she got jealous because Hagar did what? Hagar gave him a child, Ishmael. And so what happened was when he took Hagar there, they would travel at that time with a water skin. And that was like a modern day canteen, metal canteen with water, but they had it with water skin. So when her water was empty, now I want you to get the gravity of this, the real meaning of this, because she was a breastfeeding mother. And breastfeeding mothers have to do what?
Drink water.
Drink lots of water. So her water was empty, and now she's fearing for her life, and there's some seerah on various hadith that say that Ishmael was becoming extremely weak. I've actually read, Allahu Alam, Allah knows best, because I don't have real good proofs for this yet, that he was on the verge of like passing out because her milk was not coming in. So we know that Ibrahim has this encounter with Allah. He leaves her there. She gets desperate, and she climbs the hills of Safa and the hills of Marwa, sometimes referred to as mountains, but hills of Safa and Marwa. And she's asking Allah, and she runs back and forth there from these two hills, begging Allah for water. And then the angel Jibril's wing struck the earth, and out of that came the well of Zamzam. And that water is still healing people today. In the authentic hadith, we say that that water is good for everything except death. It will heal everything except death. So this is sort of the story now. So remember that at the time of Ibrahim, this was a ritual that was symbolic of a monotheist. and then we want to look at what happened. What I will do is show you some pictures of how it actually plays out in the Hajj and Umrah in a few minutes. The running between...
One thing.
Yes.
I heard that Ismail alayhi salam was crying and hitting the desert with his heel. That's why water came there out.
There's two stories. The scholars say that the baby's heel hit the ground and the water came up. The other hadiths say that the angel Jibril's wing. So both are correct. We have put two pieces of information. Allahu Alam, and Allah knows best which one is most authentic, or if they're both authentic. Maybe in synergy and harmony, the angel and the baby did it at the same time, and up came the well of Zamzam. Allahu Akbar. So the running between Safa and Marwa, the two hills near the Kaaba, was one of the rituals taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Ibrahim alayhi salam in connection with hearts. Yahamakallah. Yahamakallah. But afterwards, when the people began to associate false gods with Allah, they built temples of Safa and Marwa and dedicated them to two idols, Asif and Naila, and went around them and reverenced them. So what happened was upon this sort of holy site, the idols, the pagans, had erected idols there. And they were going around them. So now, if something is desecrated from the Islamic perspective, we would be reluctant to go there, right? Let's say that we came here to the masjid, and Allah forbid, the masjid got torn down and a devil worship place was built here. How many of us would want to come by and see that? We would actually probably go another way around it, because there's an uncomfortability there. Like, what do we do here? How do we handle this? When the Arabs embraced Islam, a question arose whether running between Safa and Marwa was one of the original rituals of Hajj, or whether they had been invented, a bid'ah, by the worshippers of false gods, and if they would be guilty of practicing shirk. Now, talking about shirk here will also reappear in the next verses, right after this, by running between the two hills. So they didn't know, there was some knowledge that once upon a time, Hagar ran back and forth. Now there's some knowledge that there were idols there, and now the Qibla has been changed toward Mecca. Now, what happens now? So Allah revealed this to show them what happened. And this is the start of Safa. As you can tell, I'm not the best person to get pictures. I try, but this is what it looks like today when you go to the Hajj. And this is another picture of the mountain or hills of Safa. Safa. I try to put my tongue on the left side of my face when I do that. When I went in 98, sorry. This glass protection was not there. You could literally walk up there and pray, and that's what I did. But now you cannot do that. It's no longer allowed to do that. This is the start of Safa, where you see pilgrims praying, making dua before they start. And here's another picture of the sa'i, which is the running. Now, what happens, folks, just so that you know, in case you don't know, there's some lights, and if you see this green light right here, you start at a certain pace, and during the green lights, you run a little, it's like a sort of a trot. Yeah, it is. I'm serious. You go into a trot, and this emulates Hagar in her pace, back and forth. So this is what it looks like. So that you understand the ritual. When all of you go to Hajj or Umrah, then you'll say, I remember Imam Sykes explaining that. Yes?
Only for men, not for women.
Yes. Now, interestingly enough, brother, when I went, well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I did see a few women try to go. Did you see any?
No, just men.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be men, but I did see a few women. Yeah. And this, of course, is Marwa. Not a very good picture, but I wanted you to sort of get an idea so that when you see it in person, and these pictures don't do it justice. When you stand there, it's majestic. Even though it's a small hill, it doesn't look anything magnificent. But the whole concept of being there, knowing that Hagar was there, knowing that Ibrahim alayhi salam was there, knowing that you're pacing where you'll cry your eyes out, or at least I did. I know you can't imagine that, but somebody had their head up. Yes, brother.
Yeah, you can't leave me wondering, so why is it no women are allowed to do it? Is there a reason for that?
Especially since she was a woman.
Yeah, I don't know. All I can tell you is that I did see women doing it, but they tell you that it's been, and I have a feeling, brother, it's because of the running, the trotting, but Allahu Alam, I don't want to say what I absolutely don't know. I know they can, but because of trampling and people getting hurt, I'm guessing, and if you'll put that question down, I'll try to get an answer. It's for protection of the women.
I personally got tired because that requires patience.
Yeah. It's sort of, if you saw that picture, when I say narrow, it's not that narrow, the space. They've made lanes. But when you think that there's 3 million people trying to do that, well, however, 3 million minus however many women there are, it is rather congested. But I'll have to say that when I did it, I literally went up those mountains and prayed. I actually did a dua every single time. Every time I went to Safa, I did it. Every time I went to Marwa, I did it. Every time I went back, I did this dua. Yes, sister.
Is this like a recent thing, like from when you went? Because like my mom, when she was 17, like she told me she did that, but I don't know if things change. I mean, population is massive now.
No, it's always been a ritual of Hajj, and it's still a ritual. It will always be a ritual of Hajj.
But the running,
So the running, yeah, exactly, the running part. Like, I mean, is
Yeah,
that
it's a trot. Some people don't do the trot because there are people in wheelchairs, there are people on crutches. But if you're able, you do see it, and it's sort of it creates a little bit of anxiety because you know these people get really zealous. It's like when you're standing at the Jamarat, you're supposed to pick up at Arafat 7 stones, tiny like peas. But overzealous people will pick up rocks and boulders. So when I was standing there, I got hit on the back of the head with a rock the size of a tennis ball. And it, honestly, it like to knock me out. I mean, I was like, whoa, I was stunned. And I was thinner than I am today. Yes, brother.
What's the difference between the two hills?
They're just simply 2 hills. Safa is the one that you start out. Mara is on that end. They're just 2 hills, and that's the name of it.
Between the two?
It's 7/10 of a mile, if I remember correctly, each way. So times 7.
But isn't it is a marble made with the marble?
Well, there is a marble path, and it's got lanes. Almost looks like an Olympic swimming pool without water in it, in terms of the lanes. But somebody else had their hand up. Yes, brother?
Actually, a comment. Even people on wheelchair, people are pushing them.
Yes.
Number 2, at Jamarat, people are so agile that they throw umbrellas and slippers.
Oh yeah. I got hit by a shoe too. It's allowing parole. Yeah, you know, I have said this over and over again that I really feel like the Ministry of Hajj should require in every language of people to visit an OSHA safety certificate before you go to Hajj. I know that some people cannot because maybe they live in villages where they don't have computer access, but really the Ministry of Hajj needs to do something for the safety of people because every year people die as a result of this.
Actually, in Malaysia and Indonesia, you cannot go to Hajj unless you attend 2 weeks of pre-Hajj camp and seminar and you'll see Malaysian, Indonesians are very well behaved.
Yes, yes, yes. Sister?
I just had a clarification about the women running.
Yeah.
They can, because I've been.
I know, I saw them
As
too.
much as I want.
Yeah, yeah.
Go wild, go run, it's fine.
Yeah,
Nobody's
because when I was there, they were women, so I never.
I just read recently.
Somebody else have a question? Yes. I'm
When
sorry.
I was there, I remember, friends were telling me maybe not to do it, but I didn't listen to anybody, I keep on
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it unless I finish it.
So a lot of people, I'll tell you another story just in terms of Hajj and then we'll move on inshallah. I was with a very strong group of people. I think 80% of the people I later found out had been in prison. But they were really strong guys from New Jersey, and I was the only white guy in my group. It was really, really an interesting situation. But they just said, now, brother, you just stay with us. You understand? You just stay with us. And they took me by the hand and went like, and they just like drugged me. It was alhamdulillah, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. So,
But it is not in the hadith that women are not, cannot do that.
to my knowledge, it's not in the hadith. As I said, I saw people, Sister Latif also was there and did it herself. So, you know, I did know that people were discouraging women to do it, but she said she did it. I saw women do it. Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best. So, without beating the dead horse, let's keep moving. Alhamdulillah. So, a tradition related by Hadrat Aisha says that the people of Medina had an old aversion to running between Safa and Marwa even before they accepted Islam, for they were devotees of Manat and did not worship Asaf and Naila. Therefore, when the Kaaba was made the Qibla, the direction of prayer, Allah removed their misunderstanding concerning the running between Safa and Marwa and told them that this ritual had been connected with Hajj ever since the time of Prophet